Amazon has gone ahead and made even more changes. These changes are to category selection. Now here on the upload process, they've actually added a few new parts. They've added this section just here where we now have to choose the demographic for our books. They've also added this section just here where we can add the primary marketplace instead of doing that on the pricing page. But then most importantly, they've now added and updated their category selection. So what I'm going to do in this video is just give you a quick rundown. This change in categories actually happened round about a week ago, but it was only yesterday that I received this email. Now this says, "We heard your feedback about needing a better way to choose categories for KDP books. We're excited to announce that you can now choose categories that match the Amazon store for your book's primary marketplace." Now the new category experience has these new features. It's a self-service experience, it has dynamic updates, and also links to the Amazon store. Now this is a really great one, and I am also going to cover this as well. And then there's improved age range for children's and teen young adult books. Now I don't know if you have received this email as of yet. Again, I only received this yesterday, but the effect has been in place for round about a week. Now let's go ahead and cover some of this so you know what's actually happened. Now this has changed, and then also the categories. So right here, we now have to choose the primary audience. If we don't choose this just here, then we can't actually choose the categories, as you can see just here. So if it's an adult book which contains language, situations or images inappropriate for children under 18 of age, then you have to state that just here. So if it's adult content, you click yes, and it will change the age bracket just here to 18 plus. If you choose no, you can then choose the demographic for your book. So you could put 14 to 18 plus. Then right here, instead of this being on the pricing page at the end of the upload process, it's now right here on the first page, and this is where we're going to choose our primary marketplace. Now for most of the time with me, I choose Amazon.com because that's where I do my research, but if you wanted to change that, you'd click on there and then choose the appropriate marketplace. Then right here, categories. So this is a huge one. This is what they've completely changed. Now if we click on here, it's going to look a little different, and now all of these categories here are the actual book categories over on Amazon. So now we can actually choose better categories. Now before we do that, what I highly suggest doing is coming through and reading this. Now what I'll do is link this down in the description so you can come through and have a little read. The main bits that you want to read, and which I'll cover as well, is this part just here and also this part as well. So key terms. Categories can be made up of multiple classifications which together form a path. You have your category, your subcategory, and then your placements. Now it says just here that they reserve the right to change the categories of a book at any time to ensure a positive customer experience. The categories you add and the categories shown online may not always match. That's because Amazon KDP has the control, and they do actually change your book categories from time to time, even with the old system. But this is all about leaving a good customer experience, and your categories really have to match your books. There's no more spamming categories, choosing whichever one you want, trying to game the system. That's a big no-no. Now right here, they actually give you some really great tips for choosing categories. Now I'm not going to go through all of this. Again, please come through and read this yourself so that you fully understand. Now, tips for choosing categories. Book categories are intended to offer readers the highest quality search results to make purchase decisions. To make it easier for readers to find your book, they recommend that you choose accurate categories. Again, don't go choosing a category that's not related to your book. Add fewer categories. So now, before you could actually contact KDP and ask them to add your book to 10 categories. This is a big no-no. Now, we can't actually do that. Now, I personally never actually did that in the past, and I always only went with 2 categories. Sometimes, if I couldn't find the right category, I'd only choose 1. But they're now stating that fewer categories is better. So, being selective with fewer categories that relate more specifically to your book helps readers find your book in their area of interest. Our analysis of customer activity on books shows that having more than a few categories decreases the relevancy of those categories and does not improve discoverability of your books. So again, fewer is better, and you want your categories to be hyper-targeted and hyper-relative to what your book actually is. This is why it says just here, focus on subcategories. Select eligible categories and give your categories time to perform. Now again, come through and have a little read of this because it's very, very important stuff. Now if we come back over to here, we can now take a quick look at the category section because it is completely changed. All these are what you will find over on Amazon. Now one thing I forgot to mention really quick, if we come back over to here, scroll all the way down to the page, we can actually check out categories by marketplace. So again, with me, my main marketplace is Amazon.com. So we can go on here, we can open that up, and then down here on the left hand side, all the way down here, we can actually check out those categories, go through, check them out, and see if it's a category where our book should be. Now, if you want to make this process even quicker, we can use a tool like Self-Publishing Titans Category Finder. So if you come over to selfpublishingtitans.com, come to Research Tools, and then come to KDP Book Category Finder, you're going to come to this page. Now on here, you can check out all of the categories and the subcategories. But if you have an idea of what your book is and you can't find a category, let's go with a dog. Say you have some type of dog colouring book, we can type in dog, click enter, and then it's going to show us all the paths to the dog categories, and that's all of them just here. And then you can go back over into Amazon and choose the related categories. So this is just a quick and easy way to actually find categories best suited your book. Because if we come over to here, it takes a little while to familiarise yourself with all of these categories and subcategories. What I actually did was went through every single one and started looking through. So I started at the top, I clicked on here, I clicked subcategory, and then I went through all of these as well, because you get all these just here on the right hand side. So that's just a really good and quick, easy way to familiarise yourself with the changes. Now, another great thing about these categories is that there's now a colouring book section. So if we come over to here, I believe it's under crafts, hobbies and home. If we click on here and then go to the subcategory, we can see that just here, colouring books for grown-ups. So that's great because I create a lot of adult colouring books. Now if we click on here, we're going to get all of these subcategories just here. So there's animals, cities, comics and manga, fantasy, fashion, flowers and landscapes, general, humorous, mandalas and patterns, religious and inspirational, and science and anatomy. So if I created some type of animal colouring book, I'll then come into this category just here, crafts, hobbies and home, subcategory, colouring books for grown-ups, and then I could click animals. Now, one thing that I really like this as well is that once you've created or chosen a category, right here, it also gives you a link to that category on Amazon. So now we can actually click on here, go through, check out this over on Amazon to see if it is related to the book that we're trying to publish, which just makes things so much easier. Now, one thing I do want to mention really quick, even though we can now add up to 3 categories, doesn't mean that you have to add all 3 categories. So, if you can only find one category which is relevant to your book, then only choose one category. Remember, if we go back over to here, add fewer categories. So again, there's no need to actually fill out or add all 3 categories. Just choose the ones which are highly relevant to your book. Now, that's everything which I wanted to cover. I just quickly wanted to talk about this update. I know it's been in effect for about a week now, possibly a tiny little bit longer, but I just thought I'd make a video. Now, they've also made some recent changes all about their pricing structure, and if you want to watch that video as well, then click right here and watch this video.